Are you ready to be a bread making winner? Well, today I'm going to show you how you can make a fun Halloween creation. This is my little skeleton friend, and I made this just out of bread dough, and it's pretty quick, and I'm going to show you how to do it right now. So let's make winning bread together. Let's go. Let's make a bread skeleton, or you can call this bread bones if you want to. I have about a pound of bread dough here. Now, the easiest way to do this is just to follow my breadstick recipe. That's how simple it is. In this case, I was making some bread today, and I thought, oh, I'll just take a pound of it and we'll make a skeleton. Now, I've got a pizza cutter because that really is such a good thing to cut dough with. But for smaller pieces, I use my dough blade. So I love that. Also, I have a silicone bake mat. You probably can't see because of the camera, but there are marks by each minute here. Each minute. Let's try that one again. There are marks for each inch. How come I'm having a hard time saying each inch? Okay, so what I'm going to first do is I want to kind of just make this as square as possible. So I'm going to take this end and I'm going to just cut this end over here a little bit. I'm going to go here on the bottom, and I'm just eyeballing this. Oops. I'm just eyeballing this, but that's what it looks like just in a little nutshell. And I want to make sure you are seeing the entire side, and I believe you will be. Okay, now I'm going to take this. Now the other thing I didn't tell you, but let me tell you to put a baking sheet, and I have a silicone bake mat here, or you'll want to put spray it with something, or parchment paper. Now I'm going to take these pieces here that I squared off the dough and just put them aside because we'll be using those for different things. Whoops, I want to make sure I'm cutting that. I don't like pulling on the dough. Now I just eyeball this, and I'm going to just take about inch long pieces here. I want to have 6 pieces. So I'm looking here, I've got 6, 7, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and a little extra. So again, I know you can't see those numbers. Let me see, maybe I can slide you up and you can see those numbers. That's helpful, isn't it? So if you have a sheet like that, it's really helpful. But remember, this is fun. This isn't math class. So I'm just going to take little cuts with the pizza cutter. Okay, I'm just going to make these little slits down here. Again, they're going to be about an inch long, an inch wide, and I'm not doing it very straight, but that's okay because, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now we need to use 6. There we go. We've got our main bones, and we are going to use different sizes. Now we need to cut these main bones up. So we're just going to call them bones. Now I'm going to take this extra dough because we can use those for some fun things that we might do. And these first 2 right here are going to be the arms and the legs. So I'm just going to take that. It doesn't have to be exactly even. And I love my blade, and it also helps to pick things up. And I want to move these out of the way because I need to make space. Or when I go to cut the other items, I don't want to cut these. So I'm going to just put them aside until we actually start building our skeleton. And we can make these longer. You're not seeing where I'm at the side here, but I am putting them at the side. So we've got our arms and our legs over here. So we need 2 arms, 2 legs. And now we need to have, divide the next one. In fact, the next 2, I'm going to divide in thirds. So I'm going to just eyeball it here. I'm going to eyeball it there. Okay, now these are going to be the neck and the spine, and then I have 3 different for ribs. Neck and spine, and again, I have a little bit left over. Now, the next ones, they are going to be, I'm going to move these, I just have to move one of them over. They're going to be the legs and the feet and the hands. So they need to be done by 4s. So when you think about it, I did halves, thirds, and fourths. That's probably the easiest way to look at it. So I'm going to move this dough over here. And the way I make things in quarters is I first go in half, and then I just eyeball it. Everything is eyeballed. It's really simple. All right, now we've got that, and then we need to have, I like to make joints, and these will be the joints for the elbows, for the knees, for the wrists. So we have it all cut out. Let me just show you again. We did right here. This will be the arms and the legs. The next one will be the spine, the neck, and the ribs. Now some of them, they're not going to be the same, and I'll show you how you make them different sizes. And then we have the feet and the hands, and then we have this extra one. In fact, we have quite a bit of extra. This is what we're going to make the head of the skeleton out. And now it's all cut up, and then we're going to arrange it now on that baking sheet that I already showed you. All right, I'm going to start putting this together, and just need to move some of the things over. Now I want the bones usually are not flexible, but we're not making a real deal here. Now I was thinking, my granddaughter is in a nursing program, and she's taken this anatomy class, and I thought, now this would be really fun. She could even teach her teacher about anatomy, show her how to make this. So I've taken the big ball, and or the big piece of dough. This was what was the residuals on the side, and I even have a little bit left over. It doesn't have to be perfectly proportioned, but I didn't want to make this huge of a head. So, but a pretty good size head there. And then I'm going to go over here, and remember we've got the spine and the neck. So we'll take the neck, and I'm just going to put that's about the right size, I think. I'm just going to put the neck here, and then we'll just put the arms. They don't really look better than just being like straight, but we want to have the spine straight. Okay. And then, speaking of the spine, these are going to be the feet. We're going to take another piece over here. This was one of the ones that was the third. We're going to come over here. We again want the spine to be pretty straight. Now the thing I like about the ribs, I want to have like 4 different ribs, and I want them to go like from smaller and down. So we'll work on that in just a minute. But I want to have the legs to be more curvy. So all I have to do is make this like I'm going to make a breadstick. I'm just going to put the legs here. And I'm going to do like I'd make a breadstick. That's why I use my breadstick recipe for this, and it works out so well. All right, so now let's go take the other pieces. These were the thirds, and we're going to do, we have actually for 4 ribs. So I'm going to do a rib. Now that's kind of a big, or I want that to be the smallest size rib. And then to kind of go out. And there doesn't have to be any space in between it, but I need them a little bit longer. So I'm going to make them a little longer, and then even a little longer like this. Maybe just a tad longer. Now I also have some extra here. So if I was like, well, I really would like my ribs to be a little longer, I don't want to keep stretching it. And then I take one of the other quarters. They also can be not as wide. They don't have to be quite as wide. And then I just do this. That's what I call the ribs. Now you can put these however you want to do it, of course. And then I'm going to do the feet. Now the feet are really pretty big. So I think what I'm going to do is take this was the last strip that I told you we could make like little circles. We could do wrists, we could do joints, however you want to do that. So I'm just going to cut some little pieces, and I'm going to actually make some joints. And I want them to be pretty small. So let's just think we're going to put a little joint before we put the hand on it. You could even put a joint here on the elbow. Let's do that. Let's do an elbow joint. You can just mold it if you want to. You're just going to do whatever. It just makes it so fun. That's why dough art. I love it. This one I'm going to just turn again. Kind of make a turn in the arm. That's the joint. Okay, so just decide how you want to do it. But I am going to make a couple little circles here on the bottom. So this will be where the ankle is. I can do that. And again, these little pieces were that last strip. And then you got your feet. Now you can just have your feet kind of going out. You can have their feet, what did my husband say? I had them looking like they were pigeon feet. So I've got a little joint here, and then feet. However you want to do it. And then I could make the hands. This is my last little piece of the quarters. And maybe I'm going to make the hands be more spread out. Like that. Totally, I'm not an artist. I'm a baker. I'm not an artist. But it's just fun. So remember, this is also edible. So this is going to be a fun thing for your family to snack on. There we go. Doesn't look so great. Oh, I was going to also put like a joint for the knees, but I think I'm just going to call that one good right now. Now, I do have some dough left over. Never, throw out dough. So I can just make an extra breadstick. If you want to make him holding something, you could do that. Whichever. I'm just going to add the little breadsticks over here, like this. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to turn it in half because I just have the hands, the elbows. I didn't put a little joint at the wrist. So just do whatever. Oh, I know what I was thinking. I could just cut little cuts to make these look like toes if you wanted to. Same thing with your hands. I'm looking for some scissors and I don't have them right here. So let me just see if I just do something like that. I don't know if that's really going to show, but that'd be fun. You could do that. All right, so we've got this extra dough so that you can eat it. Now I have, I've been baking some bread. I'll tell you a little bread hint that I do is I've been adding an egg yolk to my loaves of bread, like just to my dough. So I have some egg white left over. And if you wanted to brush that and then sprinkle this with something like paprika, put a little pepper on it, that's kind of a good flavor, and salt and pepper. You can do all kinds of different things to decorate it up. But we're going to let this rise. I'm going to cover it up, and then we're going to bake it. So look how easy that is. So cute. Now I'm going to be doing some more bread art, so make sure that you always stay tuned. And the best way to stay tuned is you just subscribe. And if you want to get this recipe and the diagrams, make sure that you check out the end of the video and watch the whole thing. Don't just skip forward, okay? You'll miss things, you never know. Anyway, go forward or check the description, and I'll have a link to where you can get the exact written directions for this, so you don't have to watch the video every time. And then you'll have even more fun. I had an egg white left over, and I added just a little bit of water to it because I thought I want to do something a little more fun than just having this plain little skeleton. So I'm going to brush this, and then I'm going to sprinkle it with some of the everything but bagel. Everything but the bagel sesame seed. I got this at Trader Joe's, as you can see. You can even make your own. So I'm just going to do the ribs, and we'll do the ribs first. And I was able to find my scissors, so I got little marks here on the feet. I don't know if you can see that. I just cut little things so they have just like 3 toes. But here, I got to sprinkle. I got to quit talking. I got to sprinkle here. Let's do about this much. And I just thought this would make it kind of a little more Halloweenish if that's what you're doing this for, because, the red and the white and the black. There we go. Doesn't that look good? There we go. Now, if we wanted to, we could do different colors on his head. Let me just tell you one thing I learned. I don't know if I had the picture here, but when I was playing around doing another one, I thought, I'll take some of the extra dough and I'll make little eyes. Well, it really looked like an alien instead of a skeleton. So, hey, go for it. If you want to have an alien, that's good. But I think really a skeleton would not have eyes. And I'll go ahead and just put this on these breadsticks. And it also gives a little bit of a shine to it. There we go. So I did add a little water to it. Sometimes I find when you just add just the egg white, sometimes it kind of bakes on funny. And I don't want it to bake funny. I want it to be fun still. All right, we're just going to sprinkle. It smells so good with the garlic on it. And the white sesame seeds and the black sesame seeds. Let's sprinkle a little on his face. Okay, there we go. This is gonna rise. Then I'll bake it probably at about 350 for, I guess this will probably be about 15 to 20 minutes. And I'll show you soon what it's going to look like. This is the skeleton taken out of the oven and cooled and put on a little decorative placemat. You can see a close-up here of the legs and the hands. Now, here's some other ones that I've done before. This was the one that I made that was kind of like an alien. And, so you can make anything. The first time I did this, I just put the dough separate. You can see they're not really stuck together. And then you'll see the end result right here. So be sure you check the description to get the instructions.